Alright, so in this one we're just going to set up an example so you can see how you can use it in a level and then have kind of a multiple pause moments where the player could actually do something that's needed to be done and then still have enough time to get onto the platforms while they move around. So for this I'm just going to go to the waypoint, and like we've done before, we'll take a follower brush, we'll tag it on just one of the blocks to use. So previously we've been using the Bezier curve and then just the standard curve, but this time around we're actually going to take it through a linear. That way we have a straight line going across. We're going to hit the third point and actually pause right here so the player has enough time to run, press the lever, open it up, and then get back in time before it goes up to here. Alright, so we're going to take, with those set in place, let's go ahead and just go down to our node options for the settings. And on the setting options, let's take the first one. It's just going to be normal. We'll do, instead of the 1 second to get here though, if you wanted to be a little bit, like for instance, maybe you want this one to last a little longer, say 3 seconds. We're going to use just all the standard options for it right here. I'm going to go to node 2, so when it hits node 2, how about we have like a little bit of a pause, and then we'll make it take 2 seconds, have it kind of slower as it goes up than it does to go left and right. Pause time, let's just do a little half-second pause so it gets here and it feels like it's kind of shifting gears and then starts to go. When we get to node 3, at node 3 what we want to do is actually say pause when we get there. And then the pause time, let's actually take this out to about, we'll say 5 seconds. And then we'll resume after, where it'll continue up. And we'll say it's going to take, we'll do about 4 seconds to get to the top. And then on node 4, when we get to here, we'll actually just say that it's going to take, the time won't matter, but we'll say we're going to pause, and we'll do a pause of about 3 seconds. Alright, so with this, we've set up our path. That way we know we can kind of go back and forth with it. Alright, and then on the direction, remember what we did before, we have our controller directions here. If we want to actually say specifically what happens, we can say that it's going to move forward. And then on node 4, we could say that it actually moves backward in case the player doesn't get there. If this is supposed to be like a one-time deal though, you could also set it so that you could say that it gets to this point and it just stops, and that's the end of the ride. So they're done. If they have got it, they get it. If not, then you have, be sure you have other elements that that allow your player to get to those spots again. Alright, so with those set up, let's double check our block. The block is going to have the follower settings on here. We're going to say it starts at 0. Time on the path. This one, when we get to our use options, we're going to use the waypoint, not the block. All right. So if we go to our options here, we'll use the scale, and then we'll also use the. So we'll say actually I'm going to use my angle, so that nothing actually changes. It's going to stay straight the whole time instead of turning around the corner. Alright, and then the option for those two, since we have it moving forward with this one, that'll actually control it there. Alright, so let's see how that one works for us. I might have to kind of move the player kind of quick to get... Oh, and we want to make sure we set the parent too. We'll fly over there. Okay. So it's going to pause, move, and stop. So we have enough time to turn the lever up. After 5 seconds, it'll move up the rest. And we would want to make sure the parent is set. That way the player is able to actually get to stay stuck onto this object. Alright, so there we go. That gives us kind of the basic setup so that the player can have a more of a complicated path to get set up with a purpose to it of taking the lever, turning it on, opening the door to get the coin. And then again, just be sure, let me show you just so you can see it here. So when it comes to the block itself, just remember that if you want the player to be able to work with the block and not fall off. You just want to make sure you have that parent to object enabled, and then just move the trigger box range up to the top there. And that'll be sure that when the player is on it, then he'll actually be set up correctly for it.